tuli mu kuziika mu bitundu ebya Western Uganda era ng'omukulembeze w'eggwanga Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine eno gy'asinkanidde omukulu Deputy Speaker Parliament omukulu Tayebwa Thomas bw'atyo n'amwayagaza okumwebuuzisaako wabula President Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine, the executive president of Uganda, asazeewo okumulaga nti gwe ne bwonna neebuuzisa nze nababuuka dda ne bamala yabakuba dda ekimooni ekoze okuba ekimooni kuba kubulawo. President amulaze nti takyalina connection yonna nabo era omukulembeze waffe omulungi Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine mu kwagala okungi n'okulaga nti yakuzibwa era wanjawulo nnyo ku balala agezezzaako okubikabikako. Manyi munnange omuntu obikkako n'olikaaba balowooza nti bategeera ate ne bakola bye bakola. Naye nga President bw'ati ng'abuuza ku mukolo Tayebwa ono Deputy Speaker wa wano era embeera bw'eti bw'eri mu bitundu ebya Western Uganda nga tuwerekera omukulu omu ku bannamagye abakuutivu abaalwana wano ne kulaba nga Uganda yaffe ekyuka era ng'etambula ng'egenda mu maaso. Twongera obbajukiza n'obbategeeza nti Uganda yaffe ennungi nga tugikwasizzaamu oba nga tugikwasizza abantu abatuufu ejja kubeera ddala ya mugaso.
Fellow monarchs, ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of Parliament and all ministers, the family of the late, I am here to bring you apologies from the Senior Presidential Advisor Special Duties, Godric Wahogo, who was a dear friend to the family, and he has his message, and I'll ask you to bear with me for a few minutes as I play it.
Arnold, your family and your siblings, and all of you, the late John Kazora's friends, they are names that are now less remembered by young people, but they really read like an honor roll for those who stood with our country at its greatest time of danger. You hear names like Roland Katunguka, Beno Nebraro, Kage, Jet Mwebaze, Mwishamuntu, Henry Tumukunde, Phineas Katruma, Kare Kaihura, El Tumine, Sam Magara, Jim Mwezi, Tinyefuza, John Kazora, and others. These were university graduates in the early 1980s, and some still students at the time. They made a decision to follow their conscience into trouble. For to find work at the time, to marry, to raise a family, to build a home was a difficult undertaking in those days. There were three choices life presented to these young men. First, to join an unjust system of the day and gain some temporary benefits as a number of their colleagues did. Second, perhaps to run to exile and find work. And three, to walk into danger with their open eyes. Well, they chose danger, and there is no greater good than someone laying down their life for others, counting their own life not worth unless it stands for something higher than the immediate material gain. So when we look back today, many were young, many were impressionable, and even some of them thought the war would last a few months and they would return to their normal lives. Some actually thought, since they were intellectuals, that they would debate their way into leadership in the bush. Instead, in the bush, they found healing, they found growth, they found maturity from working with the common people. They found an enriching simplicity in being rolled in the mud like old recruits. They took no titles, they had no pecking order, they had no class backgrounds, even if some of these were sons of chiefs and notables where they came from. They found alternative ways to grow They learned to listen to challenging opinions that disagreed with theirs. In the process, they understood that followership can be as strategic as leadership. For no one matures into leadership unless they learn to bend and listen. These patriots returned to a country wrecked by war, by scarcity, but full of hope and optimism. They were men and women whose lips and minds had been touched by the call of country. They had a new message, a message of justice, a message of forgiveness. They had a new life of restrained public behavior. They had a deep respect for civilians. They were all good, wrongly leaders, forged in the furnace of adversity. I saw Kazora for the first time in 1987 as he led the wedding reception ceremonies of General Saleh at Katatumba Hotel in Nyakayojo in Mbarara. As students, we had climbed onto a lorry, a truck, to go to Roharo and later to this reception venue. We were excited. We wanted to see these people who had stood against intimidation, who had stood against harassment, disappearances, and restored security to our towns and villages with little more than a few rifles and siasa with the population. Kazora was handsome. He was well-groomed. He was intelligent. He was humorous. He was respectful at this event, which was like a rare gathering of all the key NRA leaders of the time. I had heard about his work as Kampala's Special District Administrator, as they were called at the time, as women into the resistance councils, and how he shaped these new leaders. Some of these leaders would later be very important people in our country, like one of our former vice presidents. Later, I read about his troubles at the Internal Security Organization. I watched him as a Constituent Assembly delegate for Kashari County. I watched him fight in the CA for what had taken them to the bush, which was to turn a new page in the politics of our country. I saw him in the 6th and 7th Parliament as he and some of his colleagues sadly disagreed with the system and broke away. Now in 2017, I went with him to see the president at Entebbe, and as soon as we were ushered into the president's presence, the president respectfully rose from his seat and walked across the room with an outstretched hand to receive John Kazora. They shook hands, and I was asked to leave immediately so they could speak privately. In a meeting at Rwachitura a few months prior to this Entebbe session, John had carried a mutual friend of his from the bush, seeking a job for this friend from the president. You could see, even in his discomfort, that John retained a sense of humor, a sense of humanness, the care for others, that profound sense of proportionality, and a good perspective about Uganda's future. You know what? I think he shared these traits with his late mother, who, to my surprise, in her advanced age when I met her, she had a sense of introspection and forthrightness that I had not seen with many women of her age. Even in Kazora's book, where you meet his raw emotions, there you still find a man truly believing in what he fought for. A man undeterred, a man willing to start all over again if that is what it takes to keep an idea intact. Many of you perhaps might have noticed this zeal and optimism in his late entrepreneurial spirit, the type of entrepreneurship he adopted when he was already unwell and no longer a young man of the 80s and the 90s. His beautiful, swanky new home with its spectacular views of sunrises over Lake Victoria tells me this man still had more to life. He kept hopeful, he kept building, undeterred by circumstances. So now, you young people who are seeing the last of this heroic, self-sacrificing liberation generation that is leaving us, those of you who see the Pecos Kutesas go, the Elite Winners go, these people who survived death by war and disease in the 1990s, what did you carry as lessons into the future? What do you take from John's life? I ask you to take just 2 lessons. First, in a time of crisis for a country, or a business or a family. There are those who choose to benefit from trouble, but there are those, and there are also those who run away to join naysayers. But then, there are the Johns who choose to not look away. They choose to confront problems. They mobilize others to find solutions. John's life teaches us, to the end, not to look away from injustice, not to look away from indiscipline, not to look away at the degradation of public leadership, not to look away at incompetence. John tells us to confront these issues with wisdom and maturity and not blaming others. I ask you, do not look away. Fight for a better tomorrow. The second lesson I want you to take away is that in a time of transition, the tendency by some in leadership is to focus on material gain and to forget the full dimensionality of life. When people begin to find fulfillment in how big their cars and houses are, or their beauty and vanity, or how fat their jobs and titles are, you see the seeds of a lost generation. John demonstrated to us that there is more to life than this. You can see that. You can see that even without a job, a formal job for more than 25 years, he never lacked in spirit. He never lacked in intellect. He never lacked in hope. He never stopped growing. He was never depressed. Instead, he kept giving his life, his time, and his money to others. Young people, there is more to life than what you have in the bank, or that job you crave for, or the power and weight you throw around against the weak. Please know you are not special. You have only been privileged by God and circumstances. Therefore, live for a higher ideal and serve with dignity. The lower ideals are transitory and helpful. I will miss John dearly, especially his forthrightness, his penetrative eye on issues, and how he gathered information and how he analyzed it. In short, I'll miss John's thought process, for it represents a generation that did well for their country. But you know what? I see John every day in Arnold, and therefore I work with Arnold to fulfill what John has left undone for this country. Farewell, John. We thank you for the sacrifices you made for your country. God bless you all. I am Audrey Rawogo, your friend.
Audrey katika milioni 10. My sister Lydia. So, Shazrion's Jane. Wonka, it would be very unfair. Braku Sima Uncle Henry. You know, our Shiyama, they don't just talk. They have very few things that could only talk to what people who could move him. Perhaps General Tinyefuza, General Henry Tunkumbe, Shamuntu, Brigadier Julius Chanda. Yeah, General Katurma, but Katurma sort of left us sometime, and John Chamkoraje, but he was one of John's closest friends. So, because Uncle Henry, when Uncle Benon died, his father, Benon Kazor, he took over me as my godfather. So I knew that I would see that he was weak. So I knew that if I call Uncle Henry, he will do what? He will push him. Because we didn't know that the heart was failing. And Uncle Henry said, let me come. Uncle Henry, if you know him, so he will come. He talks calmly, John. And John, you got to just be, please doing it sharp. And because of that respect, and a history like you was telling me that they had in Parliament when we had these issues. The letter, when he was resigning, he sent it through Auntie Stella there, who took it to John, who took it to the speaker for his resignation. So that history, putting it in place and perspective, is how Uncle Henry came in and pushed them to go to Turkey. And then he went to Turkey. You basically gave him about another 5 years after. So, they had Manzungu in June. So, I want to thank most of you who have been with us. Uncle Karhanga, we have talked about it. Dad rested. I was there. He died in his sleep. I was there with him. He didn't need anything. And I can continue hearing what Trabuco said when he met the president. They agreed on 2 things. 2 things. I can tell you that. The president told him, when John, and from 2015-16, John had not touched alcohol. So, of course, there are other things I can't reveal, but I can tell you something. John was not in government, but he was running government in one way. You can see when he was in hospital, he's a major, but I can tell you, only generals visited Koreka, Dinefuza, Charles Sanjina. Of course, Tumpunde would come in all the time. You must tell me I want a minute-by-minute report, Arnold on John's condition. You're quite a doctor. That was his what? That was his book. So, I want to thank you for being there. I have so many stories I could tell you about what? About Dad. But we don't have time. I'm being pushed by these people. When you must see Mnonga, I don't know if Honorable Chagulanyi had me, because I think the mic was down. But Mijanaman, Minjo Kashar, and Kashareji, without making a quendo misho. So, on Saturday, what is that Gamba? Gonka, Mimaya, Mamna Jakugamba, we appreciate you, sir. So, Ninjan behavior. This is my wife, Winnie. I'm Chevrolet, Gazora. We have our son, Alari Kajuna, Gazora. One of those names, Alari, if you Google it, it means something very powerful. It was given to him by the father, by his grandfather. So we're expecting another one you can see. And this is good, yeah? It's good. And we had hoped, we were praying he would what? He would see this, because I don't even know the sex, but he was the only one who knew the sex. You see, they were very close. But how you know, you know. So I thank you for having Daddy and being there and being supportive. Mommy, of course, we've been on this journey together, where you're not there, where I'm not, Lydia's there, and a couple of others. But you told Daddy one thing: I will stand by you till the end. Till the end. And what? I mean, we shall add on time. John Tokal is he was a master class, a rare man. And you can't manage. You tell the stories of Suran, how he would win bulls defeating the Karhangas and clean nets and whatnot. So the Kankomao, my young brother here, he was in Canada, he arrived last night. They didn't say
thank you. All protocol observed. All protocol observed. Good afternoon. I think I'll start from my hand, I would say. as Daddy's last born. And in his book, he read it, there's a part where he talks about his father's death, his grandfather Enoch. He says he was in the bush, and when he received the news, it made him wonder where his last born would be when he passed away. And, of course, now we know, but I'll go into how I knew Daddy. Of course, all my life I've grown up, around people of power, and I never really recognized it the way it was. Looking at this crowd, it was really there. You're waking up, you go and brush your teeth, maybe take a shower, and you have Aunt Miriam in the room. Now, to many people, Aunt Miriam is, big person. Oh, it's Aunt Miriam, doing speak, honorable. To me, she was Aunt Miriam. She was going to bring me cake, bread, milk. That's it. When she comes, sits and talks to Daddy. To me, it was a regular day. The honorable now, I call her Mama. So, it's, you go to Risheni and people call her Mama Risheni. A very powerful woman. Her campaign was very serious. But to me, she's just Mama. Daddy, Major, Honorable, retired, writer. And it was a regular day for me. I go with him to Kavira. He plays squash. He used to enjoy playing squash. Of course, we grew older, his leg gave out a little bit. He stopped playing squash, he started swimming. And in the family, we all swim, but not to brag, but I was the best. And so Daddy goes into swimming at Kampala Club, and he wins this trophy. I think it was senior men's champion. And imagine that he was 60, I think, when he won this. And someone said earlier that he never stopped growing. It was something he kept, doing. He kept going on and on. And I wasn't there at the funeral service, but Romeo Roy said my piece. It was about character. And from him, learned so much, and I'm forever grateful. There's some lessons that I haven't learned, and I'm still learning, and he's still teaching. Some things that he's left as Easter eggs for me to find. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'd like to say thank you to Daddy. Thank you to Mom for taking care of him. Thank you to Lydia for taking care of him. And all those that are part of his care during his last years. Thank you.
Thank you, children. May take your seats. Mr. Hamilton Karuhanga will come and talk for a very few minutes because the reins are there. And then Aunt Naomi will come and speak. And then we'll be through. For the others who is to speak, who is not to speak, there will be some protocol handling, I'm sure, with the guidance of the President's representative to all be well.
Protocol twina twajurra konka the speaker is izina lya His Excellency the President, so I must acknowledge him as such. Naomi, abashaka kazora ndeka yawe bakama banje ba bishop abiga kwatsa umushendekereza umuryango ndeshe atpuningurikiwa ngaro tutaha mukabikiriza kumutsamu anyiro kwerakira mwenye mazi be nagamye ala ijagamo muri nyankwe Mwimani wanje basheja mbe mazire nawe bihe myaka 5 n'ebi ntumanyana obujulizi abantu bona bagamba babuhereze hago kisya cyane kintu kongeraho niyenda kumusimbira omukago okumireho myaka 5 hahizo wanarumwe uyabera yarahimye icyo ni ikimusimira bitari by'umukoro bingi biturabiremo niwe tindi mu politics bingi kandi ndeba rimwe n'iteganisa abanywanyi b'ebingi